Hi, everyone. I'm Bonita from rural Kansas, and today we're going to talk about how to stay debt free, how to get debt free, and what we can do in this economy to try to keep an eye on our numbers so we don't overextend ourselves. I wanted to be debt free several years ago, and I started making myself some goals and I started making some notes. I found those notes and I thought it would be so interesting to go over them now and to see how they kept me on track if you are in the same boat that I was in, or you're trying now just to stay on budget. One of the things that I wrote down is if I spent $8 to $10 a day on the days that I was working, that a lot of people do if they go through the drive-through or stop by the convenience store or go and get a coffee or whatever, it could add up to $200 a month. And we've talked about this before. I know a lot of other creators have mentioned it, but what I haven't heard people mention is that extra 200 a month actually equals to an increase of like $1.25 an hour if you didn't spend it. It's actually like a little raise in your pay. We never think about that when we're spending money, of how much that is hurting our take-home pay. So my goals back then were to get my bills paid off. I accomplished that. I wanted less stress because I had debt, and I do have less stress now. I wanted to be debt free, which I am, and I wanted to remain debt free, which I am. And I wanted to be able to afford things here and there, which I am able to do now that I am debt free, because I was spending a lot of extra money on interest on my debt. So being able to afford things now here and there is a lot easier when you don't have any debt and you're not accruing interest on the debt that you have. I also wanted that extra money to be available for things that I needed so I wouldn't have to overextend myself by using credit. A lot of people use credit as their emergency fund. That's what their plan is if things go bad, they use that credit card to buy things that they need in an emergency. But the problem is when you're using that to buy things that you don't have the money for, it really overextends you, and then it really puts you in debt for quite a long time with interest, because that was your backup plan. So extra money did lower my stress. It also improved my sleep, which you don't think about, because being stressed was affecting how well I could rest at night, because I was thinking about what I owed and how I was going to get that paid off. And then I also wanted to achieve flexibility. Flexibility in my spending, flexibility in my life choices, flexibility in my day-to-day life, which I was able to achieve because I was debt free. So many things in our life revolve around whether or not we owe money and whether or not we have the money to pay them off. And it affects every corner of our life, including our happiness and our peace. So today I'm going to share with you some of the things that I'm watching in my budget to make sure that I don't overextend myself with inflation. And I'm also going to share with you some of the things that I did to try to get my debt paid off, even when I had limited funds. So I hope you enjoy this video. So how we became debt free was I took little amounts and I applied them to debt. Every time I had $10, I would go online and I would make that $10 payment. If I didn't spend that $8 to $10 on things while I was at work that day, I came home that day and I applied that $8 to $10 to a bill. And I just kept plugging away, and we were able to pay off our business that had a 13-year loan in 6.5 years by just using those small amounts. So many people think that small amounts don't make a big enough bang in our budget to even make a difference. But I'm here today to tell you that I really believe those small amounts can either make us or break us. And I think we need to pay more attention to that. that. An example is right now my car budget is $50 a month for gas. I'm early retired. I'm not going to work every day anymore. I'm only going out to buy groceries, go to my grandkids' events, that sort of thing. But my tank of gas went from $24 to fill up to $36 to fill up because of gas prices right now. So it's a $12 increase. That doesn't sound like that much, but where does that extra $12 come from? And that's why those little amounts can really sneak up on you and crash your budget. My subscription to Hulu and Amazon Prime, those are the two I paid for, that's gone up $1.38 a month. Doesn't sound like much, does it? But where's that extra $1.38 supposed to come from? And then I have a clothing budget of $11 a month. I've changed that. It's going to zero. And unless I sell something, nothing is going to be in my clothes budget for the rest of the year. If I sell something, I can put that in my clothes budget. If I need some clothes, I can buy them. But right now I'm good. So that $11 a month now is going to fill my car. And there is 11 of the $12. So that's how I'm having to shuffle things right now to make sure that I don't overextend myself, even on those small amounts. Our internet just went from $61.95 a month to $60. Now that is unheard of for an amount to actually go down, but this is rural Kansas and it is slow internet. Sometimes it can take me an hour and a half to upload a 12-minute video for you guys. That is crazy. And I have to sit here and I have to make sure that the computer doesn't like go to sleep or it has to start again. So I have to really watch that. So believe me, you do get what you pay for sometimes. And out here, that is the only internet option we have unless we get one of those really expensive internet satellites that's like over $100 a month, which we cannot afford. So that went down $1.95 a month. I'm not going to complain about that. I do wish my internet was faster. And my car insurance just came due. It went up about $3.50 a month. Again, another small amount, but it still adds up over a year's time. And by paying it off 6 months at a time, which is all they allow me to do, 6 months at a time, I can save $46 off of my insurance costs. And I normally always do that. I pay it in full every 6 months because I don't want to pay all of those transaction fees and interest fees that they charge you to pay insurance monthly. But even so, it's up another $3.50 a month. So I have to take all of those little amounts into consideration to make sure that I don't overextend myself. So if you are trying to get debt free, my best advice is to take any little amounts you have and keep applying them, like I mentioned. Keep fighting because every single day you want to be closer to your goal, not farther away. And one of the things I did to track myself is I kept a ledger of how much my total debt was, everything I had, whether it was medical bills, credit card bills, anything I had a total amount there. And every time I got paid and I made some payments, I would recalculate all that and I would see where I was at. Did I have a medical expense come up and now I had a total amount that was more than I started with? I really needed to monitor that and stay on top of it. Did I have an amount that now was a couple $100s less than it was 2 months ago? And those little check-ins kept me motivated to stay on top of where I was at and to keep making those little payments. Find things that you enjoy that don't require money so that you're not spending money every single day. Pay attention to that goal and try to tackle that goal. Don't just ignore it. A lot of people just want to ignore it because they feel like they can't even touch this huge amount that is staring them in the face. And that's why I made it stare me in the face. And I kept an eye on it and I kept adding that up to see if I was making progress. And even year to year, I would take my year-end total that I owed and I would keep plugging away. And at the end of the next year, I would compare those year-end totals and see that I'd made a difference of $6,000 or $7,000 in my debt reduction. And those little steps kept me motivated to get that debt paid off. So during this process, it's so important to stay motivated and to continue to see how far you have came. Hopefully you're farther than you were yesterday or last month or last year. So as you can see, sometimes it can take a while to reach that goal depending on how much debt that we have. But this has to become our new normal to stay on track. We have to take back control and quit letting our debt control our happiness and our daily life. This is our new normal, staying on track and trying to be closer than we were yesterday. Remember how far you have come and keep moving forward. You're closer with every good choice. And that's one thing that I would remind myself. If I didn't spend $8 to $10 that day going to work, that was a good choice that day. And that's why I would come home and immediately pay $8 to $10 on a bill because I didn't spend it on something else, which meant I had it to spend it on a bill. And if I didn't have it because I was using my charge card for that $8 to $10, that was even more reason that I shouldn't have been spending $8 to $10 that day. You have fought hard to get this far. So you don't want to do the one step forward, two steps back, because that just drags out the process even longer. So we have to be stronger than our strongest excuse when it comes to saving money. We have to really buckle down. And if we get to the point that we feel like, man, I just have to spend some money, this is just crushing my spirit, go out a day and spend your $5 to $7 or whatever. Just don't stay in that practice. Don't keep doing that repeatedly. If you need to do it once in a while, just so you don't feel like you are being squashed with not being able to buy anything or do anything, then do that in small amounts here and there. You will still see improvement and eventually you will get there. I hope this video has helped motivate you or maybe even helped you think about what your budget looks like today if you're debt-free and whether or not those little amounts are sneaking up on you like they were on me. I hope that you can stay on top of that and that this video has helped motivate you to do just that. Thank you for watching today. I always appreciate the time that you spend with me. Give me a thumbs up if you've enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in the next one.